Yeah, before proceeding with the practical, let's discuss a few more things, like just a small 5 minutes topic. So when it comes to on-tap upgrade, there are types of, okay, three ways to perform on-tap upgrade. First one is first one is uh, ANDU. That means automated, non-disruptive upgrade. Next one is NDU, which is non-disruptive upgrade. Third one is DU, which is a disruptive upgrade. Okay, these are the three types of on-tap upgrades we can do in three ways actually. Okay, so what is ANDU? ANDU means the name itself it is stating like it is a automated non-disruptive upgrade. That means everything will be taken care by ONTAP automatically on its own. Like what you need to do, you just need to run a single command. Okay, that's it. After that, everything like rebooting the controllers, ONTAP installation, ONTAP installation, controller rebooting, everything like service failover, everything will be taken care by ONTAP only. Okay, you don't need to do anything. Just you need to run a simple single command. That's it. Everything will be taken care by ONTAP. Okay, this procedure they have started it from Data ONTAP 8.3. Data ONTAP 8.3 onwards, they have introduced this ANDU procedure. Uh, till Data ONTAP 8.2, we don't have ANDU. We have NDU and DU. That's it. We don't have ANDU available till Data ONTAP 8.2. Just a second, I'll close the doors. So, what is DU actually? What DU will do? So, NDU. NDU means, and one more thing, as part of ANDU, we don't require any downtime. Like even during the on-tap upgrade also, still my clients will be able to access the storage without any issues, without any downtime. Okay, only for CIFS it will disconnect. The shares will be inaccessible for like 5 seconds, something like that. But automatically that will be recovered. But remaining protocols, NFS, ISCSI, and FCP, they are 0% impacted, like no impact on those three protocols. CIFS is also clients will be not able to notice them that impact, but yeah, there will be impact technically. Okay, next NDU. So NDU is a procedure, okay, where we don't require downtime. Okay, no downtime required, but controller rebooting and service failover. That means service failover means nothing but when we reboot the controllers, right? We need to move the services from uh, the controller which we are rebooting to its partner, right? Those things has to be done manually. Okay, it is a manual on tap upgrade. Okay, it is there till data on tap 8.2. Now also, if you want to do perform a NDU, you don't want to proceed with ANDU, yeah, you can do that. You can perform NDU as well. But ANDU is the default option right now nowadays. But if you want to perform NDU, you want to take care of everything on your own, yeah, you can perform NDU as well. Next thing is DU. DU means disruptive upgrade. So the name itself it is stating, right? Disruptive means we require a downtime. Normally, disruptive upgrade is downtime required, and disruptive upgrade only option if you have a standalone controller. Okay, if your controller is a HA pair or if your controller is having more than two controllers, then you don't need to go with disruptive upgrade. Not required. But if your cluster is having only single controller, then you must require downtime, right? Because there is no other controller to take care of the services. Then only, yeah, we need to go ahead in the way of disruptive upgrade. Okay, these are the three ways to perform upgrade. But right now, whatever the latest versions, the default option is a ANDU only. ANDU is the default option. Everything will be taken care by ONTAP only. Only thing is we need to monitor everything. If and if anything went wrong, then only you need to do something, or else everything will be taken care by ONTAP. And in the lab also, we'll be doing automated non-disruptive upgrade only. Okay. And one more thing, there are two types of upgrades. First one is rolling upgrade. Second one is batch upgrade. Okay, rolling upgrade and batch upgrade. So what is rolling upgrade? For example, let's assume that your cluster is having 6 node cluster or 4 node cluster or 2 node cluster. Okay, then let's assume then what it will do, it will install the ONTAP on node by node, and it will reboot one node at a time. That is what we'll call it as a rolling upgrade. So only it will reboot a single node, okay, at a time. First it will perform, let's assume first it will perform on node 1. Once node 1 is completed, it will do it on node 2. Once node 2 is completed, node 3, like that. It will do at a time on only a single node. That is what rolling upgrade. Rolling upgrade is an option which it will go if your cluster is having less than 8 nodes. If your cluster is having less than 8 nodes, then it will select the rolling upgrade as a option. But let's assume that now your cluster is having 8 nodes or more than that. Let's assume that my cluster is having like 10 nodes. So if you have a 10 node cluster, then if you do a node by node, it will take a lot of time, right? And one more thing, whenever you are performing these kind of maintenance changes, they'll give you a window like you need to complete within 8 hours, something like that. So whenever you have a large number of controllers in your cluster, if you are proceeding with the rolling upgrade, the time might be not sufficient for you to complete the upgrade within that window. My business might start it, right? And also we'll be not able to sit for that long and do upgrades, right? We'll lose the concentration by stressing ourselves. That is the reason they have they have introduced batch upgrade. So if your cluster is having 8 nodes or more than that, then it will select the batch upgrade as a default option. So what it will do in the batch upgrade, it will pick one controller from each HA pair. For example, in first HA pair, it picked controller 1. In second HA pair, it picked controller 4. In third HA pair, it picked controller 5. In fourth HA pair, it picked controller 8. In fifth HA pair, it picked controller 9. Let's assume that. We'll pick one controller from each HA pair, every HA pair, and it will perform on tap upgrade on the particular node, and it will reboot all these nodes at a time. Because during this time, the other node is there to take care of the partner controller services, right? So yeah, once the it will consider all of them as a batch, and it will perform on tap upgrade, installation, failover of services. Everything will be done on all nodes together. Once the first batch is completed, whatever the remaining nodes, they'll be elected as a second batch, and it will perform on tap upgrade on the second batch nodes simultaneously. Okay, this is how it will perform on tap upgrade in if your cluster is having more than 8 nodes. Okay, any questions? I mean, it is not in our hand. By default, it will select the method. Okay, like you can change it, but you need to go to very advanced configurations to change that. And the Netapp will not recommend you to change these options unless if you have a specific reason. Again, you need to work with Netapp to change these kind of settings. Uh, I mean, it is not recommended to change these kind of settings on your own. Okay. Any questions so far? Cool. Now, let's start the on-tap upgrade. So, it's like a lot. Now, support.netapp.com. I'll show you where to download the on-tap image. Okay, you need to log in. Just a second again, it will give us OTP. I'm waiting for the OTP. I got it. Okay. So we need to log into the support portal. Okay. So after login to the support portal, you need to go to download section. Okay, downloads. So here, click on downloads again. And here, if you come to like, if you want to download data on tap, from 9, they started calling it as on tap, right? But if you want to download the older data on tap versions like 8 dot some versions, then you need to come go here. Or if you want to select the newer on tap versions, you need to come here on tap 9. Okay, just click there so that it will take you there. Let it load. So here by default it will show you the latest version here, but if you want to go, you can go down and you can select whatever version you want. Okay. Right now what I can do, yeah, let me select 9.8 P8. Okay, and click on go. That's it. For example, now I realize that I don't want P8, I want P7. That's okay. What you can do, just simply remove the 8 and put 7 there. See, okay, like that. So few versions it will not show you in download section. In order to go to them, you need to uh, change the URL like this. Okay, and here it will show you what all the bugs it has fixed in they have fixed in this version. Like the bugs they found in 9.8 P7 patch 7. Uh, like these many bugs are there. They have fixed in P8 like that. So you need to go through all of them. Like if you have a are you if you are impacted by these bugs, yeah, you need to go through them and click OK. Check these two boxes and accept and continue. So if you go here, it will give you two images actually. One is on tap image with Netapp volume encryption, without Netapp volume encryption. Okay. Generally, if you don't have encryption, if your controller is not using any encryption, then you can proceed with any image, any image. Okay, you can proceed with any image. But there are few companies that they restricted. I mean, few countries they restricted in Russia, Kazakhstan. These countries are there, right? There, they'll not allow you to use the encryption. So in those, if you are part of those countries, I mean, your organization is part of those countries, if your data center is part of those countries, you must select without NetApp volume encryption option only. But if you are outside those countries, then you can select any of the images if you are not using NetApp volume encryption. But if you are using NetApp encryption, you must select with NetApp volume encryption. Y- y- for example, if you accidentally downloaded this image and you upgraded the NetApp, then it will cause a lot of issues. Like, yeah, your array will be not able to boot up because uh, encryption is enabled, but you have upgraded your NetApp with the uh, without encryption image. So whenever, if you are not part of any of these countries, better to go ahead with NetApp volume encryption image only. If encryption is not enabled, nothing will happen. If encryption is enabled, then you have selected the right one. Okay, so yeah, that's it. Click here. That's it. It will download the image, NetApp image. Okay, that's it. Simple. So after that, what you need to do, you need to, if you have access to web server, you need to place that image in web server location and generate a URL. If you don't have access to web server, then what you need to do, you need to work with people who are managing the web server, okay, and uh, place the image and get the URL. That's it. Okay. Now let me show you. So, and one more thing, guys. Whenever you want to perform on-tap upgrade, okay, it is not recommended to do it through normal cluster management IP or cluster management port. Okay, whenever you are performing on-tap upgrade, either you need to do it through service processor by connecting via service processor to your cluster, or if you are near the Netapp controller, then connect the Netapp controllers through console connections. Okay, don't do don't perform on-tap upgrade via cluster management IP or port or node management IP or port, because during the ONTAP upgrade, the controllers will be rebooted, right? Whenever the controllers are rebooting, you will lose access to cluster management IP and node management IPs. That is the reason they'll recommend you to use service processor or console port. That's it. Okay. Here in the lab, they gave us two ports, console port to node 1 and console port to node 2. So let me connect to that. Just hit enter. It is asking me for the username and password. Same username and password. I'll show you how to log in via service processor as well. Don't worry. But as this is a lab, we don't have a service processor. That's why I'm connecting to console. They have set up a console for us. That's why. Okay. And one more advantage is, if you connect to console or if you connect it to your cluster via service processor, then you will be able to see what is happening in the background. Even when controllers got rebooted, you'll be able to see what is happening in the backend. I'll show you all those things. Okay. Now I've connected to both the controllers via console. I've connected to my cluster via both controllers console. So I logged into cluster only again. Okay, in the end. Now I need to do a pre-checks. Like I need to verify if there are any hardware failures or not. Those kind of things. You know that, right? Disk show hyphen container type broken. This is the command to check the failed drives if you have any failed drives or not. Uh, System health status show. This is another command which will show you the entire cluster health. If it is showing okay, then there are no hardware failures. If it is showing something like degraded or something like that, then you need to dig in, like why it is showing degraded. There might be something wrong. Okay. System health subsystem show. These commands will not support mostly. Yeah. See, it will show you in detail like information. Okay. All looks healthy. System node show. You need to check all these things. Health and eligibility should be true. System chassis show. It will show you, yeah, system chassis FRU show. Why it is showing empty? Because this is not a physical hardware, right? This is a lab machine. That is the reason it is showing like this. You need to run all these commands to verify everything is up and running. Mostly you'll come to know by running the system health show command only, system health status show command only. If it is showing okay here, then you can confirm, okay, nothing wrong with your system. You can proceed with ONTAP upgrade. If it is showing degraded, then you need to run all the commands and you need to see Like you need to find what happened to your system, what's wrong with your system. Even you need to run, you don't need to run all these commands. As I told you, we have a feature called auto support. Okay, auto support show, if you run that, it will show you. Okay, by default, whenever we configure the NetApp cluster, we'll configure this auto support actually. Okay, I'll be not able to show you here, but like when, if you got a chance to configure auto support as part of your cluster setup, you can reach me. I'll help you to how to configure it. I'll show you. Okay, I'll help you that time. Okay, yeah. So as we configure auto support, if there is any hardware failure happened on your cluster, a disk failure or anything, any kind of hardware failure, it will trigger uh, auto support to us, and as well as it will trigger auto support to Netapp also. Okay, it will trigger auto support to Netapp as well. So that, yeah, um, yeah, Netapp and we both are aware of the hardware failure. You don't need to search for, you don't need to monitor every time for the hardware failure. And also along with that, we do have a monitoring tools which we are going to discuss in tomorrow's class, which will notify us in case of anything happened with your Netapp cluster. Okay, even the monitoring tools can identify the hardware failures as well. Okay, we'll talk more about that in tomorrow's class. So yeah, once hardware failures are completed, then the next thing is we need to check there is any volume in offline state. If there is any volume find in offline state, same thing with the LUN as well, state offline. Then either you need to delete them or you need to bring them online. And also one more thing, uh, available space. Available space must be 5 MB, right? I told you already. At least 5 MB free space should be there on each and every volume. Okay. Next thing is, if you have any snap mirrors running, what you need to do, you need to queue them. Okay. And if you have any backups, actually we have not discussed about backups yet. We'll talk about them and like maybe day after tomorrow's class. Okay. If you have backups like NDMP backup or any sort of backup, you need to disable them. NDMPD, I'll tell you, like I'll show you, but remember that you need to turn off the backups as well, and you need to coordinate with the backup team and tell them not to take any backups during the, yeah. And also, as I told you, if you have a SAN host connected to your cluster via FCP or iSCSI, you need to make sure that multipathing is configured. Like you need to check with server team that server able to see all the LUNs, storage LUNs via multiple paths or not. Okay, you need to get the confirmation from them. Yeah, after everything is completed, the final check is check the CPU and disk utilization. System node run, a node name, command sys stat hyphen c is count hyphen x 2. 2 means 2 seconds. It will run every 2 seconds the output. See, my CPU utilization is just 3%, 4% only. And as I'm not using any disks here, it is showing 0. Like we are not, my clients are not using, right? That's why. One time it's spiked up to 12, 9. Yeah, that's totally fine. Just do the same on the second controller and do it multiple times. Okay, just at least run the command for 2 to 3 times on each controller in real time. When you are doing in real time, then only you'll get a confirmation that your CPU is under 50%. Then you can proceed with the on-tap upgrade. Cool. Nothing looks dangerous. Everything looks good. Now, what do I need to do? Now I'll proceed with the on-tap upgrade. In this lab, okay, already, okay, let me go to the lab guide. In lab guide, we have a web server address. Okay. In the lab, already they have downloaded the on-tap image for us, and they have uploaded the on-type image to the web server so that we can use the web server directly. We can get the link from the web server directly. So the link will be there in the lab guide actually. Okay, let's look at it. You can do on-tap upgrade via command line, or if you want, you can do it through system manager as well. It is pretty simple. If you do it through system manager, uh, like you need to go to configurations and advanced cluster setup, not advanced cluster setup actually. Uh, the cluster and the cluster. hmm, Okay, let me switch to new one. Generally, I don't do it through. Let me go to dashboard. I don't know. Like, let's see first. Yeah. So from here, yeah, we have a web server. We'll get a web server link from here. Okay, where you need to enter the password. Okay, on the top it is showing. You need to click there. Okay, okay. That's okay. Don't do anything through GUI. Okay, it is recommended to do it through command line only because people will prefer command line only. Okay, because if something went wrong with your cluster, then you'll be not able to access that. Okay, so yeah, this is the web server where you have on tap image. You copy the link and go to your lab and open it here, paste it here. Okay, see, this is a 9.9 image and this is the image actually. So what you need to do, you need to come here, copy link address, copy link address. That's it. After that, what you need to do, you need to log into your cluster. Okay, cluster image package show. Okay, this is the command which will display you if the existing Netapp images in your cluster. Okay, here we don't have any images now. Normally in real time you will see few images. You can delete the old images like once they become very old. Normally we'll maintain only two versions, which two images, the current image and previous image. Older than that can be deleted. You can delete them. Okay, or you can keep them like if you don't have any space crunch. Okay, cluster image package get, and you need to paste the URL which you copied from web server. That's it. What it will do, it will download the image to NetApp cluster from web server. See, package download started. Okay, let me increase the font so that it will be comfortable to you. Appearance change. Okay, started downloading the image package. Okay, package processing started. It is started processing the package. That means it is performing. It is a TGZ, means it is a compressed image. What it is doing is it is extracting the image, the files from the image like that. You can do it through any console, any node console. Okay, because both the controller consoles connected to cluster only. But why I told you to connect to cluster via both the controller console? Because when one node got rebooted, still we can access the cluster via another node console. That's the reason. Okay, maybe very soon I might perform on tap upgrade. If I do that, I'll show you like real time. I'll ping you guys so that I can show you. And one more thing, before proceeding with that, let me show you the ONTAP version. Uh, version. This is the command which will show you. See, right now we are on 9.7 something. Okay. Okay. Image processing got completed. Okay. Let me change the font on the second one as well so that it will be clear. Change setting, appearance, change font to 12. Okay. Now let me go back to the node one console and let me run the package show command. Okay, cluster image package show. See, now I'm able to see 9.9.1 on tap image here. Now, yeah. So once the image got downloaded, then what we need to do? We need to trigger auto support. I told you, right? We need to trigger auto support invoke. Okay, auto support invoke. Uh, Here we need to select the node name. Here I'm selecting both the nodes by keeping the wildcard entry. Type, you need to select all. Okay, and the message. When it comes to the message part, here you need to put something like, normally the message also will be there in the upgrade advisor. Upgrade advisor will contain the message also, what message type of message you need to keep. But you can do arting ANDU to 9.9.1, something like that. You can, so that Netapp will understand, okay, these guys are performing on tap upgrade, so we can ignore the controller reboots. Okay, like that. That's it. What it will do, it will trigger the auto support. So this message will upload. What it will do, it will take the controller configurations backup to the support site, and also it will pass the message to support. It will update the support site with this message, so that people will not panic. Actually, that's a typo. Yeah. Just a second, guys. Okay. Yeah. We'll... Okay. Once the auto support is triggered, then we are good to go with the on tap upgrade. So cluster image, okay, validate version nodes, select both the nodes. So what it will do, it will just do a validation. Okay, nothing but validation means nothing but sometimes your image might get corrupted, right? Okay, yeah, actually you don't need to run a validation command uh, manually. During the ONTAP upgrade it will do. Okay, cluster image update, and you need to select the version to which version you are upgrading to, and yeah, on which nodes I want to perform it on both the nodes. It will do automatically. If you select estimate only to true, then what it will do, it will just um, yeah, what it will do, it will just give you how much time it will take to finish the upgrade. So the estimated time to complete the upgrade is 92 minutes on both the controllers. Okay, that is what it is saying. So let me start the upgrade immediately. Cluster image update nodes. I want to start it on both the nodes. Yeah, remaining options are not required for now. Like for example, if your cluster is having more than 8 nodes, as I told you, it will go ahead with the batch upgrade, right? But if you want to perform a rolling upgrade, you can proceed. You can use this option, force rolling, so that it will perform a rolling instead of a batch. Okay, like that. Pass after something like what you are saying is just take some pass after upgrading one node, something like that. You can these all are extra options which not required. Okay, so that's it. So what it is doing as part of the ONTAP upgrade only, it is performing the validation. You don't need to validate it separately. If you run update command, first it will validate the image. That means the whatever the image that you have uploaded to Netapp, right? First it will check that the image is in proper format. If it got corrupted, then it will throw an error. In earlier days, there is no validation kind of thing. That time, we used to download an image. During the download, due to some network fluctuations, the image might not download properly, and if we install that image, your entire controller will goes down and it will be not able to boot it up. Lot of issues were there. That is the reason they have included this validation as well. So it will validate the image. If the image is properly downloaded, then only it will proceed with the on-tap upgrade. And not only that, it will do some internal validations as well, like pre-checks. It will perform a pre-checks, and it will give us any recommendations. If there are any recommendations, warnings, it will give us. Okay. See what it's showing is CIFS is currently in use. Any unprotected sessions may be affected. I told you, right? CIFS require a downtime. Another thing is manual checks. Manual checks need to be performed. Manual checks means nothing but compatibility checks. All those things need to be performed manually. That is what it is saying. SAN compatibilities, blah blah blah. That's okay. These warnings we can ignore it. Okay, you can proceed with on. If you want to proceed with on-tap upgrade, yes. If you don't want to proceed, no. So it will abort the upgrade process. So you need to fix those warnings or errors. But all these warnings are there are common warnings. It is just giving us a heads up. Did you check all these things or not, compatibilities and all? As we checked everything, we are proceeding with yes. Okay, now it started the upgrade. So what you need to do, you need to run this command to check the process, what step it is at. Okay, so cluster image show update process, what it will do, see, pre-updated checks are completed. Now it is performing the data on tap updates in process, and right now it is in process on both the controllers. In both the controllers, it is installing the software image. I told you, right? In boot module, we'll be having two images. One is a current version, another one is a previous version. Now, what it is doing, it is just removing the existing previous version and it is overwriting with the new ONTAP image on both the controllers, so that it will not disturb any current version. So you don't. I mean, there is nothing, no downtime required during the installation. It can do on both the controllers at a time. Okay, once the installation is completed, as this is a ANDU, it will reboot the controller automatically. It will pick one of the controller. Either it might be one or two. Mostly, it will pick controller two only, and it will reboot the controller two. During that time, everything will be taken care by controller one. After controller two rebooted and it booted up with a new image, um, the same will happen with the controller one. We'll see. We'll be able to see what is happening in the background. Okay, let it install the edge first. After that, we'll be able to see. Okay, let me run one more time. Yeah, installing the software image is okay. No, I think it will reboot the node 2. Still, it is installing. See, node 1 is waiting, node 2 is in progress. That means it will install the ONTAP image on node 2. After installation is completed, then it will reboot the node 2. That is the reason I've connected to both the consoles, so that I can show you what will happen in the backend when controller is rebooting. Okay, let me continuously run this command. Yeah, performing takeover operation. That means it is rebooting the controller 2. Let me go into controller 2. It will, you'll see a lot of messages here, and you'll be able to see that controller 2 will going. See, now it's going down. Terminated. Setting the default boot image to image 2. It is setting the second image as a that means the backup image, the secondary image as a default image. That means whenever it is booting up again, it will come with a newer image. Okay, which is 99. You'll be able to see it here, performing takeover operation. See, it is taking 991 as a default image now. And I can show you when it is switching the images. See, it is changing boot from version to boot to version. It is changing the images now. See this message. Boot from to boot or to. That means it is changing from 9.7 to 9.9. You can ignore these link ups, link downs, because as ONTAP controller is going down and up, it will, yeah, can ignore all these things. See, waiting for clients to stabilize after takeover. That means now all the services are handling only by controller 1, controller 2 properly went down. Okay. So as part of this upgrade, it will upgrade the disk shelf firmware, disk firmware and all also. Let me show you that. Somewhere it will show you. See, now it is waiting for give back. That means the controller is booted up with 9.9, but it is still waiting for uh, the controller. Now, recently the service has moved to controller 1, right? And now the controller 2 is with a new image. So what it is doing is it will wait for some time and it will stabilize the controller with the newer version. Once the controller is stable, then only the services will be given back to controller 2 from controller 1. Okay. Hmm. See, waiting for give back. That means the controller is already up. Controller 2. See, version mismatch detected. Yeah, because now the one controller is with 9.7 and one controller is with 9.9, right? That's why. You can ignore that. So, excuse me. Yeah, if you connect to the console, you'll be able to see what is happening in the back end, even though controller got rebooted or controller is shut down. Okay. Uh, or if you connect to SP also, yeah, via SP also you can connect to the console, right? Yeah, that is the reason Netapp will ask you to connect to the controller via console whenever you are performing maintenance activity, so that even controller got rebooted, you'll not lose the access to controller. Waiting for clients to stabilize after takeover. Now it is waiting for node 2 to stabilize. Okay, once node 2 is stable, then it will give the services back to node 2. Just let me know if you have any questions. Meanwhile, take some time. It will wait for quite long to make the controller stable. Okay, it's booting up now. Uh, that's okay. You can ignore these errors. Version mismatch. It will show you like that. You don't need to panic. Okay, because as I told you, one is with 9.7, another one is 9.9. That's the reason. And guys, I forgot to show you one thing. Uh, Normally, whenever it is performing failover and give back, right? It will also move the aggregates. If you see here, normally this 0 1 aggregate should be owned by controller 1 and 0 2 aggregate should be owned by controller 2, right? But if you see here, both of them are on controller 1. We'll talk about that little later. Okay, I'll explain you clearly SFO and CFO concepts. Okay, after completing the ONTAP upgrade, how aggregates will be moved across both the nodes during the ONTAP upgrade. But if you see after some time, it will go back to node 2. Now, what is the cluster upgrade image show update? See, it is verifying the ONTAP version. Now, my controller is up and running. See, it is asking for the login screen. Now, if I enter username and password, I can go back to my cluster. And if you check system image, sorry, uh, cluster image show, if I run this command, see it is showing controller 2 is with 991 and controller 1 is with 997. Okay, 970 like that. So it's now it is all the services are back to controller 2. Now it is verifying the ONTAP version. It will take a while, like verification will take a while. And let's take a look at the aggregate. See, earlier this aggregate is on controller 1, right now it is on, it came back to controller 2. Now let me explain you what will happen. So when it comes to aggregate failover, we have two types actually: CFO, which is a controller failover, and another type is SFO, storage failover. Okay, these are the two types actually. So let's assume that these are my two controllers, right? Okay, so assume I have two aggregates on both the nodes. I have one root aggregate and one data aggregate. The same way here also I have one root aggregate and one data aggregate. Let's assume the first one is the root aggregate, which is agar 0 of my controller 1, and this one is agar 0 of my 2. Okay, so and these the top ones are data aggregates. So whenever any controller is getting rebooted, all the services will move to partner controller, right? For example, let's assume that this is a node 1, okay, and this is a node 2. So whenever right now, let's assume that I'm rebooting node 2. So whenever I'm rebooting, as I told you, all the services will move from node 2 to node 1, right? So as part of the services, along with services, it will move the aggregates as well. So whenever it is moving aggregates, what it will do? First, it will move the data aggregates. Okay. First, it will move the data aggregate from node 2 to node 1. This will call it as SFO, storage failover, SFO. Data aggregates will come under SFO. Not only one aggregate. If you have 10 aggregates on the node, all 10 aggregates will be moved to partner node, node 1, from node 2 to node 1. All this is part of SFO. Once the SFO is successfully completed, then it is time to move agar 0. But as I told you, the controller will be not able to up and running without agar 0, right? Because whatever the required configurations for the controller to keep on up and running, they will be there on the agar 0. That is the reason what it will do. Once node 2 is properly down, okay, then only, then only it will move the agar 0 also to partner controller. This will call it as CFO. Only root aggregate will come under CFO. Okay, this is how it will work. Now again, my controller needs to come up. My controller is booting now. When my controller is booting, again it require agar 0, right, in order to come up properly. So as part of that, first, this time first root aggregate will be moved to controller 2, again back to controller 2. Okay, so by using the configurations in the root aggregate, my controller will be properly up and running. Once my controller is properly up and running, then only the data aggregates will be moved back to the original controller. Okay, this is how CFO and SFO will work. Okay, any questions? I'll show you actually. Let me check the status. Now again, it will reboot the controller 1, right? Let it verify the data on top version. This time, controller 1 will goes down. Okay, when controller 1 will go down, okay, let me copy all these commands because we'll be not able to run the commands here. We need to run the commands from console 2 now because console 1 controller will goes down. Okay, and agar show also, if you see agar show, this aggregate owned by node 1 and this aggregate owned by node 2. The same way, first data aggregate owned by node 1 and second data aggregate owned by node 2, right? One data aggregate and one root aggregate owned by both the controllers. But during the takeover, everything will be moved to controller 2 only. Observe that. Okay, let me show you while let it start, then I'll show you. Any questions? Still verifying. Okay, yeah, it is moving the controllers. I mean, so now check the agar show. See, it moved the data aggregate. See, earlier this agar one data aggregate agar one owned by node one. Right now it is on node two. See, observe that. But still the root aggregate is under node one because still the node has to shut down properly, right? Reboot properly. Then only it can move the CFO aggregate, which is a root aggregate. Till then, my controller needs the root aggregate. Yeah, that's why. Now again, here also it is changing the image from image to the secondary image. Guys, are you able to follow me, understand? Or Krishna, any questions?
Mm. Yeah, no, Navin, this is like one time activity, right? We need to
Yeah, yeah,
like coordinate with the team as well. Like even though we understand that depends upon the environment, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. True. Now, I think it has moved the root aggregate as well. Akar show. See, now all the aggregates owned by controller 2. Because now, right now, my controller is down. When it started booting up again, then it needs the root aggregate first. It moves the root aggregate from node 2 to node 1. Just a second. Yeah, now it is waiting. It first the new on-dev version to stabilize. It will take time, few minutes. Okay, it might go back now. Yeah, started booting up. And if you observe the aggregate, come on. Yeah. See, right now it is moving the root aggregate. See, it is showing unknown, something like that. It is performing the CFO. Then only the controller will boot up, right? With the configurations by using the configurations. Yeah, that's why. Okay, I just want to show you that. You will come back after some time, like after a few seconds. It stopped here because it is waiting for the aggregate to fail back, come back. See, right now the root aggregate is on node 1. Now it will continue with the boot. Okay, done. Now my controller is also up. Okay, controller 1 is also up. See what it is saying is still it is doing some background update activities. So still upgrade is not yet completed. That is what it is saying. That's okay. Now slowly it will move the data aggregate also back to original node, which is this particular aggregate. After some time, if you see, it will perform SFO and move this aggregate back to original node, which is a node 1. Okay. And if you run cluster image show update process, I think it will, yeah, it is still performing the give back. It has to move the aggregate as well, right? And if you run cluster image show, now it will show you like, see, both are running on 9.9. See, as part of this upgrade, it is performing the disk firmware upgrade. See, etc disk underscore f2 DTC disk underscore f. Whatever the old firmware, right? It is creating a backup folder and it is moving the disk firmware to that backup folder. After that, it will apply the new firmware. Why it is doing that? If something wrong with the new disk firmware, it can revert that back from the backup folder. That's the reason. Like that same way, it will do it for the shelf as well. Somewhere it will be there. Shelf firmware also, it will do it in the same way. I told you, right? As part of ONTAP upgrade, everything will be taken care by ONTAP only. Like earlier, you need to do shelf firmware, you need to do disk firmware, you need to do service firmware separately. But right now, everything is bundled and they made your job easy. Okay. See, I think it has failover. Let's take a look at the aggregate. See, right now, this aggregate is owned by node 1. So of takeover give back also completed. Right now, it is verifying the ONTAP version. It is waiting for the clients to stabilize. Once the clients are stabilized, then it will verify the ONTAP version. That's it. It will mark it as completed. That's it. We are done with the ONTAP upgrade. Any questions? That's it, guys. Let's stop the session for today. Nothing to show actually. It will verify and yeah, it will take a time. Like I don't want you to hold idly for so long. Okay. Just if you have any questions, ask me, or else we'll stop the session for today and we'll start a new topic tomorrow. Thank you.
Kevin, thank you. Yeah.